Am I okay? It's the sick brain. I'm so sorry. Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be filming my monthly reading wrap up for the month of March. I literally can't believe March is already over. I feel like it went by so quickly and I read so many good books this month, so I can't wait to share them with you all. But first, I just want to mention the fact that I sound like a man. I'm sick at the moment. I have a cold. It's not COVID, thankfully. I've tested negative on so many wraps and then I got a PCR and we're negative, so we're all good. But I do have a cold, so if I sniff and I cough and my voice sounds really croaky in this video, I am sorry. But I can't do anything about it because I need to get this video filmed and up for you guys because these are some of my favourite videos to film for you. I love sharing with you the books that I read every month. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the video. So I'm going to start with the books that I read on my Kindle, and the first book that I read this month was Fiera, I have no idea how to say it, by T.L. Swan, and this is the second book in like a series type of thing. You can't read this book without reading the Italian first, and so I read the Italian a couple months ago and it wasn't my favorite book of all time. I really enjoyed it up until the end, and so this is the book about the main guy in the first book's sister, and so she has like a love story that you see in the first book and you see snippets of it, and then like you're super curious about what's going to happen with them because there's like this big thing, and then they get their own book, and I can't really tell you guys much about it at all without spoiling the first book, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, just know that it is mafia and it is forbidden and it's so good. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 3.75 stars because I just was expecting so much more from this book. I'd been anticipating it for ages, and like since I finished the Italian I was like, oh my god, I need to know what's going to happen between these two characters, like I need the next book now. And then obviously we finally got the book and I read it and I was just a little bit disappointed, and I hate that I was disappointed because I wanted to love it so much more than I did, but that doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it. I did still enjoy this one, but just not as much as I had hoped. But yeah, like I said, I can't really tell you guys much about it because it will spoil the first book, but I definitely recommend both of the books if you're looking for a subtle mafia book. It's not like if you're just getting into mafia, this is probably like a really good place to start because it's just like woven into the plot. It's not like the main thing that's happening. But yeah, I really did want to love this book much more than I did, but unfortunately it was a little bit of a letdown, which I'm so upset about, but I still did enjoy it. The next book that I read was The Words by Ashley Jade. You guys know her Royal Hearts Academy series is one of my favorites, and so this is her latest release, and so I had to read it. I was super hesitant to read it at first because it's like 700 pages long, which I was like, what on earth could happen in so many pages? Like I feel like a book doesn't really need to be that long, but when I read this it didn't feel like it was 700 pages. Like it literally felt like 300, like it just went so quickly and it was so good. I gave this one 4 stars. So this is about Lennon and Phoenix, and it is a second chance childhood, not childhood friends, but like high school friends to lovers, and then something happens and then they meet again in the future and they fall in love again, and it's enemies to lovers in the future. So it's a super fun second chance romance, and basically Phoenix is really struggling at school and he needs someone to tutor him, and Lennon is really smart. She's like top of her class, and so her teacher asked her if she will tutor Phoenix. Phoenix is the bad boy. He is, well, like, is he popular? I don't really remember. And Lennon is not very popular. She's kind of nerdy, not really well liked. She gets bullied a lot, and so she starts tutoring Phoenix, and things slowly start to build between them, and eventually things happen, and then she gets her heart broken, and you fast forward, I don't remember how many years later, but Phoenix is now in a famous rock band, and something tragic has just happened and he's gone basically off the rails. He is drinking, getting into so much trouble, doing drugs, and he's just not doing well, and so they need someone to be his like sober coach, essentially, keep him in line, keep track of him, and Lennon is the person for the job. She's super hesitant at first because she doesn't really want to be around him. Obviously he broke her heart. She doesn't want anything to do with him, but the pay is really good and she needs that money to help her with something. Don't want to spoil it, but she needs that money really badly, and so she ends up taking the job, keeping Phoenix in line, and obviously there's still that tension between them. There's all this unresolved drama of what happened back then, and it's enemies to lovers, and they absolutely hate it. Well, she absolutely hates him, and slowly things do, you know, they turn into lovers, and it's so good. Oh my god, my voice. And it's so good, and I really enjoyed this one, and like I said, it didn't feel like 700 pages at all. It went by so quickly and it was so good. The next book that I read is Always Been You by QB Tyler. You guys know I absolutely love QB Tyler's writing. She is the queen of taboo. Her books are so freaking good, and this one was just as good. I was in a bit of a reading slump after I finished The Words. I don't know why, I just like was feeling really slumpy, and so I read this. It's a super short book. It is about 200 and a bit pages, and I enjoyed this one. I gave it 3.5 stars only because it was so short, but it was like a little novella that she did for this analogy, and then she turned it into like a book, so it was super fast paced, really not slow burn at all, and I think that's why I just was like, oh my god, things are happening so quickly. But I understand why, because it was like a short novella. But basically this one is about James and Gabrielle, and they are adoptive siblings. So Gabrielle gets adopted into James's family, and he's about 13 at the time when she gets adopted, and she's 2, and so he like was always taking care of her, and they always had this like bond when they were younger. And then as she grew older, she started to form a crush on James, and she didn't think it would ever amount to anything. She was just like in love with him basically from such a young age. And then she turns 18 or 19, I don't remember, and they're like in the same city, and they're seeing each other all the time. They're really like really close, they're really good friends, they have a really good relationship, and then slowly things start to happen between them. And when I say slowly, I don't mean slowly at all, and things happen, but the love that James has for her is so freaking sweet, and their romance was really sweet, and so I really did enjoy it. And like I said, QB Tyler's the queen of taboo, so this one is of course taboo with the adoptive sibling aspect, and yeah, it was really good. I gave it 3.5 stars, again, because it was super fast paced, but it's just a fun, fast paced, quick read if that's what you're looking for, and it's super spicy. Stunning. The next book I read was Unloved by Katie Regis. I'm not even gonna try, I don't know. This one was such an unexpected love for me. I love a broken hero. I just think that that's my like favorite trope of all time, and this book I found randomly. I was watching a recommendation video about broken heroes, and this one just sounded really good, and I was like, you know what, it's on Kindle Unlimited, I'm just gonna pick it up, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It is phenomenal. Go read it right now. Amazing. So this one is about Cassidy and Brian, and basically Brian's dad is a serial killer, and he was really young, and his dad got convicted of murder. He was a serial killer. He used to rape and kill these girls. Brian's mother decides that they're going to leave the town. Like, they're obviously looked down upon because of what his father has done, and so they decide to isolate themselves away from the world, and they move in with his grandfather, and he lives in like this cabin in the woods that's super isolated, and they only have to go out to like the shop once every couple of months to get supplies and things like that. And so he's grown up in that cabin away from everyone because his mum's scared that he's going to turn out like his dad, so she wants to take him away from everything so that he can't hurt anyone and things like that. And so his whole life has been so scared that he's going to turn out like his father, and he doesn't want to hurt anyone, and he's like terrified of this. And then Cassidy has gone through a lot of trauma in her past, and she's trying to free herself, and so she goes on this mountain walk that's near the cabin, and something ends up happening to her, and Brian, Oh my god, I've been saying Cassidy is the guy, okay? Cassidy's the little boy whose dad's a serial killer. Anyway, am I okay? It's the sick brain. I'm so sorry. And Bryn is the girl. So Bryn is trying to find herself. Cassidy, isolated serial killer dad in the woods, right? Cassidy ends up saving Bryn from this thing that happens, and he takes her into his home and, you know, helps like clean her wounds and things like that, and she's like knocked out for a couple of days, and then she wakes up and she's like confused, and Cass is like, hey, like, it's okay, like, I'm not gonna hurt you, I just like saved your life, blah 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 blah. But he's so terrified that he's gonna hurt someone because of what has happened in his past. And anyway, it's like a stuck together in the woods type of thing, isolated. So good, and slowly a romance forms between them, and it's literally stunning. But he's so broken, so he doesn't think that he can love her or that he can be loved, and it's so good, like so good. I'm obsessed. You guys need to read it right now. And the next book that I read was Second Semester by QB Tyler. This is just a super short, fun book. It's the second book in a series. I read First Semester, the first book, a little while ago, like literally ages ago. I think I read it last year, and I enjoyed that one. It's a student teacher, super fun, super steamy, quick, easy read. And this one is the second book about the main girl in the first book's sister, Serena. So this is about Serena and Landon. Serena is the good girl. She has done the right thing all of her life, and she is an aspiring lawyer, and she is an intern at her dad's firm where Landon works, who is her dad's best friend. That is the taboo, forbidden aspect in this book. Like I said, QB Tyler's the queen of taboo. And so she sees Landon and she's like, oh my god. Like, obviously she's been around Landon like her whole life, but she's like really attracted to him. He sees her and he's really attracted to her. And, you know, slowly things happen between them. It's a super steamy, super short, fun read, but I really, really loved this one. I don't know why I loved it so much. I gave it 4 stars because, like I said, it's nothing crazy. It's just like a short book. I think it's like under 200 pages. It's super short, super fast paced, and super steamy and super fun, and I definitely recommend you guys read this one. It's so good. But yeah, so it's Dad's best friend, and so stunning. Like, go read it right now. The spice, phenomenal. Now moving on to the physical books that I read this month. So first we have Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. 5 million stars. Oh my goodness, this book, everything. You guys know Colleen Hoover is my favorite author of all time, but this book is so underrated. Like, I feel like no one talks about Hopeless. Everyone talks about It Ends With Us and Ugly Love, and I'm like, what about Hopeless? Hopeless needs more hype because it's so good. This was one of the first books that Colleen wrote, but it's so good. So there's Hopeless, and then there's also, it's part of a series, so there's Losing Hope, which is this one told in Dean's point of view, the guy, and then there's a novella, and then you read all your perfects, and then Finding Cinderella, and it's a whole thing. I've only read this one. I haven't read Losing Hope yet, but I can't wait. And this is about Holder / Dean and Sky, and basically they meet. Sky starts at school for her senior year. She's been homeschooled her whole life, and she decides that she wants to go to school for her senior year, and so she's like, Mom, can I please go to school? And her mum agrees, and so she starts school for her senior year, but her best friend is moving away, so she's kind of got no one there. And so she goes and she meets Dean, and Dean is the most stunning book boyfriend ever. Like, he is the standard for men, and you can't beat him. He's literally everything. Like, #1 book boyfriend. Hello. I'm obsessed with Dean Holder. He is the sweetest. Oh, I'm obsessed with him. He's so amazing. Anyway, so they meet, and it is a friends to lovers romance. So they start off as kind of enemies. Like, they don't really like each other, and then that turns into friends, and then that turns into more, because Sky has had this thing where she's never really felt anything with a guy. She's like never really felt that like attraction. She's never felt like she wants to, like, you know, make out with them, and then she sees Dean and she's like, oh my god, Dean Holder. And so she's like so attracted to him, and then like things happen, but in true Colleen Hoover fashion, crazy plot twist, heartbreaking, the meaning of hopeless when it like comes together, everything. And I bawled my eyes out reading this book, as one does when reading a Colleen Hoover book. And Sky's passed, oh my god, I just want to give her the biggest hug, because she needs a hug. And Dean, I love him with my whole heart, and I can't wait to continue the series and read the next book in Dean's point of view, because I can't wait to get into his head. But yeah, so freaking good. Loved every second of it. Then I read The Mixtape by Brittany C. Cherry. I've heard literally no one talk about this book, but I bought it on Amazon because it was on sale for like $10, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cheap. Let me get it. I love Brittany C. Cherry's writing. You guys know I talk about her books all the time. This is her latest release, I believe, and ended up really, really enjoying it. I gave it 4.5 stars. And yeah, it was really good. So this one is about Oliver and Emery, and Oliver is this famous musician. He's in a duo with his twin brother, and unfortunately one night he passes away. His brother passes away, not Oliver, obviously. His brother passes away and he's grieving. He doesn't know what to do. The world has kind of like doesn't really like him. He's like the least liked twin in their duo, and he's lost and he doesn't know how he's going to continue on with his career, and he doesn't know what to do. He turns to alcohol and he starts getting drunk all the time, and he ends up walking into the bar that Emery works at. Now Emery is a single mum. She is struggling. She's working like 2 jobs. She's struggling to provide for her daughter, and she's just not thriving in life, but she's trying her best to be what her daughter needs. And so Oliver ends up walking into this bar. She's a big fan of his music, and he gets absolutely smashed, and Emery ends up taking care of him and brings him back to her house, and because like his phone dies, he's unconscious and she doesn't know what to do, and so brings her back to his house, and they end up talking. They form this bond, and things happen from there. And I don't want to tell you much more than that because I don't want to spoil anything, but they're both going through a lot. Obviously Oliver's grieving, he doesn't know what to do. Emery's trying to provide for her daughter, and they connect through music, and it's really so beautiful. Like, he sends her songs and I'm like, oh my god, I love it here. Like, so good. I loved it. Amazing. Also the cover's really, really sweet, and when like these little things make sense, I'm obsessed. Also the daughter, I don't remember her name. I think her name's Reese. She's the cutest little girl, and her relationship with Oliver is so wholesome. I'm obsessed, and it's just so good. Loved it. And the last book that I read this month is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I got this one for my birthday and I started reading it right away because it sounded so good, and also the cover's really, really cute, but I was not expecting it to be this thick. Like, it's like 550 pages long, and this one took me so long to get through. I was reading this for like, I finished this last night. Like, I was reading it for like 5 days, which is so unlike me. I mean, I had like a bunch of uni work and stuff to do, but like it was just taking me so long to get through it, but I still loved it. So like, it's not like I was reading it so slowly because I wasn't enjoying it. But basically this is about Knox and Naomi, and Naomi is a runaway bride. She's just left her groom at the altar because he's an awful person, and she goes to this town where her sister lives because her sister's in trouble, and so she's at this cafe waiting for her sister to meet her because she's a good sister. She wants to help her sister. And her sister ends up stealing her car and her purse that has all her money in it, and leaves her with her child, Waylay. And Naomi's like, what the heck am I meant to do? Like, I'm in this massive dilemma. My sister's just stolen my car, stolen all my money, and left me with her child. Like, what do I do? And they're twins. So everyone in the town, it's a very small town, thinks that Naomi is her sister Tina, and everyone hates Tina. And so Knox walks into this cafe and is like screaming at her, being absolutely awful. This book's the epitome of grumpy sunshine. Like, Knox is the grumpiest man, and Naomi's just so happy, and despite having a shit time in life right now, she's still trying to see the positive side, and so she takes Waylay in. I love Waylay, she's literally so funny, and Knox is trying to help her out. all while being really grumpy, but he still wants to help her. And he claims that she's not his type and he's not gonna fall in love with her. He doesn't want her. He's not interested. We all know that's a lie. Because why are you helping her? And yeah, this book's so good. So much happens. Like, it's crazy, but it's so good. And the daisies, I love it. He calls her Daisy, which is so freaking wholesome. And it's just so good. And Knox is a sweetie. I love him. And yeah, so if you're looking for a really, really good grumpy sunshine book, this is the one for you, because this is like the ultimate grumpy sunshine. So good. And that is all the books that I read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.